Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos.
Newbies, this one's for you.
Yes, you've gotten your license. Now what?
Yes, and this was our first requested episode. So this is exciting. It's the first request that came through, and we're here to answer the people, right? So that's what we're gonna do.
And I think so. One of the things we kind of focused on with this in what we did as new realtors, but was a lot of low cost things. We're trying to keep as much money in your pocket as possible because there are a lot of other things you could do that cost a lot of money. But if you're coming into this having left a career or without a big savings and you're jumping in full time, just know that everything we've said here is pretty much low cost.
Let's get into the actual helpful part of it. Was very helpful, but let's get into the
fun part.
Agent. Yeah, like the fun part. Here we are in business. What are we gonna do now? So
go
ahead.
This first one, while it is now my favorite, and you're gonna laugh when I say this, was initially the hardest one for me. Hardest part. For anyone listening who's known me longer than 3 years, I didn't have any social media for 6 years before I got my real estate license. I walked away from it one day as a New Year's resolution. I was like, I'm going to give it up for a month. 1 month turned into 6 years. So this was very hard for me because I had to rebuild an entire social network. I now have, I think, over 5,000 followers on Facebook. I'm still building on Instagram and TikTok. But you need to develop a strong online presence. Set up professional profiles on like the real estate websites. So Zillow, Realtor.com, all of those. Social media, you need to have your own page. You can create a business page if you want for people who Google you because that will pop up, but that's not where you're going to get business from unless you throw a bunch of money at it, and that's a topic for another day. And a personal website. Now, a lot of times your firm will offer you a website. If you can't afford to have one built, go ahead and use that for now, but do have that somewhere in a budget line that eventually you're going to build your own website. This is going to help you showcase your expertise, provide a clear overview of your services, and include your contact information. So just make sure it's all there. Like if you come to my Facebook page, it is Alyssa Courier, North Carolina, South Carolina Realtor with Real Broker. Here's my phone number. Like you don't have to question it. You don't have to dig for it. It's right there. Has it gotten me some texts from some creepy dudes? Absolutely. Block. Done. Make everything, all of your social media, a creator profile if you can. Not a business page, a creator profile. You still get all the fun stuff, but you also get to track your metrics. So I can pull up on mine. I was actually looking at it right before we got on. I can pull up all of, where's the button? And this is just the initial page, but I can pull up all of my metrics. I know exactly how every post does, how everything works. That will help you guide what to post, when to post, who's seeing it, so you know who your audience is. Because if your audience is a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds, then you probably need to go send some friend requests and switch your content to attract people. And don't get me wrong, I just sold a house to a 21-year-old, but he's not the norm. Mm-hmm. But you probably need to change like your audience, build a different audience and different content to attract people who are ready to buy houses.
Yep, absolutely. And this next one too, I think is super important because personally, I just ran into this because it's not something that I'd ever had before. Your own email domain. It's not that much money. Go to Google Workplace. You can get your own email address. So it won't be, Brenna sells houses at gmail.com. You can set up your domain. So my email address is actually Brenna at stebbensrealestate.com. So when you're promoting yourself, it's not a Gmail or a Yahoo or something like that. It looks professional. And like Alyssa was saying, a lot of brokerages will provide you with a website or an email. But what happens is down the line, if you ever find a different place, decide to go out on your own brokerage, switch firms, anything like that, you leave that firm, you lose all of that, right? So the idea is to set yourself up with something that can that can carry you through your career with real estate.
And just keep in mind, like, double check with your firm. I know my first firm, I could use an outside email, but I would not be covered under their E&O anymore if something happened. So what I had it set up was that it went to both. Like, I don't remember. There's a way to do it in Google to have one feed to another so it looks like you're sending from that one. And that's what I did.
Yep.
But then when I left, I still had all my emails. So make sure you're doing that for sure. This next one, there's 2 ways you can do it. It's networking actively in your local community. Now, we can network. I just want to make sure we don't have this. Okay. We kind of have it as the last one, but 2 places you can network. Obviously in your community to build a sphere of influence to gain customers. So things like local events, community groups, networking activities. And then you can do it professionally too. So like today I have a networking event this evening, 6 to 8. It's a panel of realtors who do better in business than I do, giving advice on how to do things. But there's a happy hour after. I'm going to network because you don't know who you're going to meet. Or I went to an Empowering Women luncheon last week before, and got a referral to call a FSBO because she was like, hey, I don't work this area, but I happen to be out there, saw this sign, sending it to you because I know you do. Network the hell out of yourself. Go to every soccer game. Go to every coffee meetup, every cocktail party. I saw a realtor the other day who's probably about our age, like late 20s, mid 30s. I guess I'm late 30s now. Say, I have more friends my parents' age now than I do my age, getting ready to go to Mr. So-and-so's 65th birthday party. Damn right, go to the birthday party because you never know who you're going to meet there. And you don't have to talk about real estate, but you just have to be there, having your face in that room, having regular conversations. Because guess what? It always comes up. What do you do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
Always a question.
Yeah,
So
and like
network
you said,
actively.
It doesn't matter. As far as in the community, that's where you're probably going to find business. But with other real estate agents, that's where I started because I was a transplant out of state. So I didn't have a immediate sphere of influence. I couldn't call my old high school buddies and say if they were ready to buy a house here. So, but you can learn a lot from being in the room with other real estate agents who've been there, done that. You might hear some stories that you're like, oh, wow, yikes, I would never do that, you know? But I think it's important to make those connections because some of the people that I met that first year in real estate, going to those lunch and learns at the new construction houses and things like that, have actually led to a business relationship later on that, you know, has benefited my business or personal life. Look at us.
I was just going to say, you mean like a podcast?
Yeah, we met at a real estate, networking group, actually. So.
Yep. Yeah, we met in an online networking group and then happened to live near each other. Did you come to the lunch we had in Mount Holly? Yeah, and then we went to one of Larry's photo ops, and that's where I think that's where we like actually connected that time. But yeah, that's how we met, and we just did our first deal together, and we now have podcasts together. So there's a great way to make connections, and you never know who's going to be there. Like I'm always meeting someone that surprises me.
Dig in and make friends, whether it's in a real estate group or in a, local church group, local pet group, make friends, make connections. That's how you're going to spread your reach out. Because if you just sit in a hole in your office and be on your computer, you're not going to make those genuine connections that are going to ultimately lead you into those business opportunities.
Right. And the next one kind of is the same but different. You want to utilize your sphere of influence. So Brenna made a good comment. Neither she or I are originally from where we sell real estate. I've been here, it'll be 9 years in May. So like 8.5. How long have you been here, Brenna? 5? 6?
I have been here since 2017, so 6. Yep.
So 6, yeah. And we had, don't get me wrong, we have spheres of influence here, but they're not like they would be at home. So when you think of that, don't freak out and go, oh my God, I don't have a huge one. I didn't either. But lean into them. Lean into, like you said, your church groups, your friends, your family. And lean into your sphere of influence from home. Let them know, hey, I made a big splashy Facebook announcement, even though I didn't have a huge Facebook following. I made sure every time I went home for a visit, I was like, oh yeah, I changed jobs this summer. Now I do this. And hey, did you know that I can help you even out of state? Like I can send you a referral. I don't know what she does, but every time does it.
I've moved 3 people from back home here.
Yeah. I've helped people who are from back home originally, but live here now, or they live somewhere else. So I sent them an agent. I've sent, like, my best friend here happens to be from a town 40 minutes away from my hometown, and her cousin lives in Atlanta. I referred her to someone there. So lean in and don't be tacky about it. But like, one of the things I wish I had kind of done when I bought my house, I sent a postcard to everyone that was like a moving announcement. And it said, it's behind me somewhere. I said yes to the address. It was like a play on a bridal announcement because that's not going to happen. And I think it would be fun if you did something like that for your sphere of influence. Like have a quick headshot taken or your favorite photo of yourself and a quick postcard to your friends and family, even if they're out of state, that says, hey, I've made a change and I'd love to help if you so. But don't be tacky about it. Find a great way to phrase it, but lean into that sphere. For sure.
It's like you said, even if it's not immediate, those people who already know, love, and trust you from childhood, from school, from previous work engagements, they're going to know, especially if you're friends with them on Facebook and they keep seeing your stuff, even though they might be 1,200 miles away. I have people who are trying to rent back home. They're like, hey, can you help me? I'm so sorry. No, but I can connect you with somebody who can, because they think of real estate and they think of me. And that's how your business is going to grow.
Exactly.
The next one on here is promotions and incentives. And we've touched on this a little bit in previous episodes as far as like creating a sense of urgency for people to use you. So if you're starting out, I did more for sale by owners. I think I told you that. Like that's something that I dug deep on. But as far as like if you were trying to work with buyers, like you could offer home warranty at closing, things like that to work with you. Partner with a local lender, see if you can do free appraisals or half off appraisals. You know, just get yourself out there. And honestly, I'm gonna partner with lenders on there. I was just looking at it, I'm like, it would be a great idea to partner with somebody who's already established in this business, because they're gonna have a sphere of following that you can kind of piggyback off of and get some momentum, some traction going until you are consistent and busy enough that you don't have to offer an incentive to work with you.
Right. And if you have like a strong like professional sphere, like say you're a nurse or law enforcement or something like that, anything, teachers, whatever, one of your giveaways could be, hey, I don't charge you a transaction fee. Say whether it's $200, $500. For some people, that's a lot of money when it comes to a closing table. So just be like, $500 off the transaction fee. I cover it. They don't even have to know that really that doesn't cost you anything. But
right.
That's something that you can offer for sure. Or celebrate like a national holiday. I did this once, National Coffee Day. I had people DM me their favorite coffee orders, and everyone that DM'd me, I was like, okay, I got their email and put it in one of those online spinny things and sent someone a $10 Starbucks card. $10, done. Or one time I did, we had tickets to the Buffalo Panthers game in Charlotte, and it was preseason, so we didn't care to go. But there was a dog charity or like a nonprofit that needed to raise funds. So I raffled off our tickets. It didn't cost me anything. We'd already paid for those tickets a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I got a bunch of email addresses from it that now go into my CRM. So it's definitely helpful.
And based on this when this is going to come out. I think like coming into March, I think Dr. Seuss Day is in March. There's a few fun
St. Patrick's
holidays.
Day,
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. You've
March
got
Madness.
all like lots of good ones coming up. So you can like lean into those for sure. National Frozen Food Day. I'm just looking online here at some of the cool
We
ones.
just
But
had National Popcorn Day. I
Popcorn
missed
Day was
that
a
one.
great one. Me too. Me too. But there's like you can Google that. There's tons of funny holidays. Not even like the ones that you would, I guess, think of immediately off the top of your head, like you said, like St. Patty's Day or things like that. But those unique ones that not everyone is marketing to. Like you're gonna have a bajillion lenders and home inspectors and realtors that are gonna email everybody and say Happy 4th of July, but you might not have so many that are reaching out on Dr. Seuss Day, you know.
Right?
So that's a great way to lean
My
into that.
my first year in, I knew like my firm was really pushing Memorial Day, and I was like, I'm gonna beat y'all. Excuse my French. I'm gonna beat y'all fuckers to this one. And I did on Cinco de Mayo walking tacos. I door knocked with a tag that said Nacho Average Realtor. It had the recipe for walking tacos on the back, and I attached a little snack size bag of Doritos. And I got so much feedback. Like I actually made a connection. They haven't bought a house from me yet, but made a connection that I'm still friends with to this day because he saw it and he was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, no realtor has ever done this. And I was like, hey, I was 3 weeks ahead of everyone doing Memorial Day marketing. So if you
Exactly.
can ease in there, find something a little earlier, definitely lean into that.
For sure. And that just like tied right into the marketing because we're going to talk about a marketing plan next. And this isn't necessarily get a calendar out and write down everything that you're going to share over the next 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, but it having a plan, a strategy, or an idea behind it will have your metrics, your engagement play out a little bit more. If you're just sharing listed properties just blindly, like sharing somebody else's post, you're not going to get that bite, that interaction and quality feedback, I guess, that you're looking for. You want people to reach out, have a conversation, comment, something like that, so you can get a full conversation going. If you're sharing something that's only going to get likes and ha-has and things like that, that's not necessarily a great conversation opener, and conversations is where you're going to find the business.
Yes. And if social media isn't your jam and you're going to lean into like networking as your marketing, show up prepared. Have cards with you, have a digital business card, have those conversations, but follow up the next day. Because if you do all this and you don't follow up, it's not going to get you anywhere. Because, like, okay, you spoke to someone, you gave them your card. Make sure there's an exchange of that information. Get theirs too. Follow up the next day. Maybe find them on social media. Don't be stalkerish, but just, hey, find them on social media. Send a DM that says, it was great meeting you yesterday. I'd love to add you to my network. Something, something, something.
Yeah, I haven't had paper business cards in 2 years. Something that I actually do, and I take their information because it was one of those things, like so many times you would give a business card or they would be like, oh, I don't have one, I'll get in touch with you, and that never usually happened, you know. So for everybody who has, and I don't know if Androids are the same, I don't think I've ever had an Android phone. So on iPhone, you can set up your card, right? Your profile card in your contacts. And that's what I have. I have my profile picture. I have that big picture set up. So when it calls, like my whole logo and face will pop up on their screen if they have an iPhone. In that contact card, it has my website, it has my phone, my email, my social medias, all of that. I even just put the podcast link in there a few weeks ago.
Nice.
All of the ways that they can see what I'm doing in the business. And when I make a connection, and I say, hey, I'd love to send you my information. Let me grab your phone number. And now put their name and phone number into my contacts immediately and then share that contact card with them. They have it, but I have their phone number. So like you said, I can follow up with them on Tuesday or Thursday
Right.
But if it's like a blind, oh, I hope they reach back out to me so I can talk to them. It's better to be proactive and take that information. That way you're the one with the initiative and the ability to reach out.
Yes, or I use Popple. So it keeps a QR code on my screen for them to scan and it exchanges our information. But then it also reminds me the next day, hey, you met so and so yesterday at. Have you reached out? I do have business cards and they're super cute. But I only use them in certain situations. Like when we did handouts for something, these got stuck in there. I met an older gentleman the other day who did not have a cell phone to exchange numbers. So I gave him a card. Networking events, a lot of times they're like, hey, throw your card in the bin. And I'm like, okay, this is easier than having to write it on their Post-it note every time. I don't want to have to do that. But yes, I think both. I think a good balance, but whatever works for you to make sure you're getting their information as well.
Yep. Yeah, and following up. You can collect information, make connections all day long, but if you don't use the information that you've gathered, it's a waste of time, ultimately.
Yes. And if you're going to take one thing from this creative marketing plan, I think, other than business cards and stuff, if you want to do the things like the popcorn day, the Cinco de Mayo, stuff like that, sit down, figure out which dates, holidays you want to do, and what you're doing for them in advance. So you're not scrambling the week before or the day of going, oh God, I'm supposed to do something for Valentine's Day.
Right.
Make
one a
a
month.
plan.
Pick one a month, and that way that gives you the time to focus on it, to prepare, and to really present yourself and your marketing the way that you want to. Because like you said, if you're trying to throw something together the night before to drop off at school for the kiddos, for Valentine's Day, or for the teachers to like have your information on it, you want it to be polished, put together. Now, done is better than perfect. We say that all the time, but we want a little bit of thought and effort behind it, because otherwise people are going to know. And it's just a feeling.
Also, don't do things that might be considered cringy, like National Law Enforcement Day. Don't deliver donuts. Do something else, please.
Oh my God. So
like, bring them dinner. Just don't drop off donuts. That's just like...
It's not fun.
It's funny, but it's not funny. Maybe... right?
That's not funny. It was funny, but it's not.
Right. But
we can do better.
Right, we can do better. And have a follow-up. The most important thing is, if you're going to do a pop by or something like that, have a follow-up. Because if you just drop donuts off once a year, no one's going to know who the hell you are.
No, they're just like, hey, that lady that just like brings the donuts.
Right.
Thanks for the donuts.
Yep. Right. Number 6, you want to partner with experienced realtors. Now, this doesn't mean you have to join a team. I might recommend that as a new realtor, but ask to post their listings online. Obviously, you give them credit, like this listing is presented by. Ask to open or to host open houses for them. A lot of experienced realtors don't want to, or like in my case, I often don't do dual agency. So I'm not going to do an open house on my listing because I can't help any of those people coming in the door if they don't have agents. But that'll help get people into your CRM. Because if you post beautiful pictures of a house that's not your listing, but people now know it's available. I've had people reach out and go, oh, we weren't even looking, but we'd like to go see this. Mm-hmm. Okay, because they're not set up on an MLS search. So post away. Make sure you're cropping out MLS watermarks or whatever your local rules are, but collaborate with them. Collaborate with people who you can mentor you. This one's important.
It is. It is important. There's a lot of, I feel like this is hard because when I was first starting, there was agents and I was like, oh my gosh, they're amazing, but they don't want to talk to me. You know, they were not interested in even answering a question, much less being supportive in a role beyond that. So there's certainly, you want to find the people that will help you grow. Now listen, I am a firm believer in the fact that if you want to do something, you will figure it out, you know? And I'm all about supporting and guiding and helping, but I've built my own business. I'm not going to build yours. And that might be harsh to say, but again, if you want to make it happen, you can make it happen, because the two of us, like we said, came in blind, fish out of water, never, never been here, and have built successful real estate businesses in an environment where we didn't have moms and friends and
Right.
exes and you know what I mean, like all of that stuff. So for you to say, oh gosh, like I can't get anyone in my high school because I've lived here for 23 years and nobody will answer me, like I don't feel sorry for you. Do something
Right.
different.
Do something different
Pivot.
and be willing. If you're looking for someone to mentor you, to give you more than a, hey, how do I find this in MLS? Understand there's going to be a fee.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anywhere from 10 to 50%. Like if you truly are hiring another agent to mentor you, there's going to be a split on your business until you're done with that mentorship, which is worth it. It is worth every penny because if they're truly mentoring you and actually giving you a bunch of guidance, it's worth it, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than hiring a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches can be anywhere from 10 to 50,000 a year, depending on the program you want. So if you don't have 10 to 50,000 to lay down right now, hiring a mentor and splitting your commission, you still have money coming in. You're not trying to pay it up front, and you're learning. I think it's a great way to gain knowledge, but just do not expect someone to mentor you, like you said, Brenna, for free, because we've built this business and we're not going to just build yours. Doesn't mean we're not going to offer advice, but you're going to pay for it. And again, that might sound cruel, but it is what it is.
It's one of those things. Like I've got that group in Statesville that we meet on Fridays, and listen, we have a little group chat. Everybody helps each other out, and I think that's a huge thing in this business because it can feel so lonely on an island, but I feel like that's a choice. Like people choose to isolate themselves and not reach out for help or offer help. If you're in a position where you're working with these experienced realtors and you can kind of like a give and take kind of thing, they're giving you advice and information and you're hosting those open houses that they don't want to do. Like this is how we grow together. This is how we support each other. There's girls that don't like to do open houses, but you know they would go and show a house for me if I'm out of town, you know. So there's just, you have to get in those relationships and not expect everybody to just offer a handout, but the good ones will offer advice and support but push you to do it yourself. So
Exactly.
I think that's
And that doesn't mean there aren't free options out there either. Like, I know a local mortgage company that once a month they have a lunch and learn, and it held me through the first year and a half of my business. Like, I went every month, and it was free, and they had different resources come in, like other realtors giving us tips on how to do things.
Or home inspectors,
Lenders,
or
right?
yeah,
Home
all of those
inspectors, appraisers. One of the best ones I went to was an appraiser talking to us about how they actually come up with numbers, because it was way different than we thought for certain things. They did have a Tom Ferry coach come in and give tips. It was all about cold calling, maybe not your favorite thing, but there's going to be knowledge there. So lean into those free events. Lean in, call lenders, get on Eventbrite, or even just search Facebook for events. A lot of them are posted there.
Yep.
This is the part of this professional development that I think, I don't want to say is the most important, but I think is a major question you need to ask when joining a firm. I asked it with my first firm, didn't get the answer I wanted or expected, and still joined the firm anyway. I don't know what I was thinking. I was gone in less than a year. I was gone in 8 months, I think. Make sure the firm that you've joined has lots of free training. You don't need to pay $900 to learn how to cold call and cold text your friends and family awkwardly. I'm just going to say it. You don't. I took the first day of that class and walked out and was like, I'm not giving you a penny of my money. This is, ugh. Now, does it work for some people? Yes. Good for them. But if your firm has a ton of free training, jump into it. But if they say, oh no, we don't really offer that, then that's not a place for a new agent. Absolutely not. Go to a firm that has a ton of free training. Whether it's online, in person, just get in there and take it.
I would certainly not advise any new agents to look at what they're calling like 100% commission firms. You get what you pay for. There's firms that offer the weekly trainings, like scheduled trainings, in-person trainings. There's ones that, like ours has a huge library, a vault of recorded options. So if you're a night owl and can study at 2 a.m. in the morning, or you work a full-time job still and trying to squeeze that in, you have those opportunities. Because the first year, oh gosh, like I'm still learning things, but the first year, like you want to dive in and find out as much as you can about the transactional piece, about, like you said, home inspections, how lending works, like all of those things, because you don't want to feel like a newbie with your clients. They don't want to feel like you're a newbie. So having the ability to dive in, and that goes back to the, oh, I can't get any business, and like not feeling sorry. If you have this huge brokerage that's offering you 24/7 all access training on any topic you could imagine, you can dive in. Yeah, like you'd have to take some initiative. Yeah, it's 40 minutes out of your day, but guess what? That's probably going to pay off so much in the years to come, because you're investing in yourself. And you're investing in yourself. It doesn't have to be, oh, I paid $900 to take this class. Sometimes it's time. Sometimes it's a learning series that's 12 videos long, that's an hour a piece. That's an investment of time, but you're getting back what you put in. So if you're not putting in time, effort, and money, you're not going to get anything back out of it.
And it doesn't have to be training your firm offers. There's a ton of real estate podcasts out there. Podcasts are free for the most part. Or pick up some books, go to the library. Yeah, like and subscribe. But there's other ways to get that. And maybe you are the person that needs the $900 class or the $10,000 coach. There's nothing wrong with that. We're just trying to give you options of ways to be successful without doing that. And I think the most important thing to remember is building this business takes time. And I'll be honest, especially if you're not putting your time and money into it. You can't just sit here and hope that people are going to show up. You can't. It's like dating. You have to be proactively engaging with your community and leveraging connections to make it happen. And you can do it without feeling skeezy. I promise you. Promise you.
And after a while, you'll have people that come rolling around again. You'll have people that you made connections with the first year that 3 or 4 years later, they're ready to buy a house now, or they're relocating, and it doesn't pay off immediately. But the key is consistency. And I think we say that in every episode. Whatever you're doing, you have to do it well. You have to do it constantly, and it will continue to roll around. And you'll have, like last year was my first year that I ever had repeat clients. And that was so exciting. But that it starts to come back around. They'll start to refer you to their friends, or their family is relocating here, or they had another baby and they need another bedroom. So the time invested now, it will pay off. You have to stick with it. You have to keep working for it. But it's fun. I love it. I love real estate.
Yes, it is the best thing. And if you are willing to put in the time and the effort and some creativity, it's going to be a very rewarding career.
Sure is.
All right. Well, that's our top 7 things to do now that you have your license. Now what? So get out there. At least take 1 or 2 of these and run with them at a minimum, I would say, too. And dig in. Welcome to the craziness. Welcome to the chaos.
Welcome to the chaos. I was just going to say that. Welcome to the chaos. And we'll see you next week.
We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.